What's up, everybody? It's DC, the analyst, back with another video. Now, today I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Typically, I talk about college football, NFL topics on this channel, but today I'm going to bring in a new topic of discussion. The MLB season is a month away from spring training, that is. And a week ago, the Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, fortunately my favorite team, they signed Kyle Tucker, a star outfielder from the Chicago Cubs. He signed a 4-year contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers on last week. And so baseball fans that aren't fans of any of the big market teams like the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, they have an issue with, the Dodgers superstardom. I don't just mean, the players, the caliber of players that they have. Yes, they do have Shohei Ohtani. Yes, they do have Freddie Freeman. Yes, they do have Mookie Betts. Yes, they have Teoscar Hernandez and Blake Snell and so many other players. Will Smith. They have so many star players. It looks like a super team. It is a super team. But that's because there is no salary cap like there is in football or the NBA. There's no salary cap in baseball. It is based on payroll. And the Dodgers are one of the bigger market teams because they're in LA, for one. They're the most iconic, too. Baseball fans are having an issue with this. I've heard rumors that there's going to be a lockout after this fiasco. And the reason why they're saying that there's going to be a lockout is because the smaller market teams, so for instance, like the Tampa Bay Rays or the any small market team, the Pittsburgh Pirates, for instance, they cannot get a Kyle Tucker or something like. We'll use Mike Trout for an example. So, say Mike Trout is entering free agency, and the Dodgers or the Yankees give him the most money. Of course, he's going to go there. They're going to give him the most money. He's on the Angels, right? But the Angels don't want to give him what he wants. In reality, they should, because he's their best player. But they're too cheap to realize that he is their best player and that he should be paid based on how great of a player he is. And he's a great player. Unfortunately, owners in baseball are really cheap, and they don't want to pay their players what they're worth. They would rather let them walk and pay players cheap contracts other than, just paying them what they need, paying them what they deserve. Because what's going to end up happening is Skubal, the ace for the Detroit Tigers, he's going to end up getting paid somewhere next offseason. I believe that is when he's a free agent. He's going to get paid. And it'll probably be the Dodgers or the Yankees or someone like that. But you got to think, those teams invest into their players. They pay their players. They don't just let them walk like the Tampa Bay Rays because their ownership is cheaper and not willing to spend the money to assemble a great team. They're looking at the Arizona Diamondbacks, who practically spent no money and got to the World Series. But I think that was more of a fluke, more than a management thing, to why they got to the World Series a few seasons ago against my other team, the Texas Rangers, who were one of the top spenders in payroll a few years ago. Now, some teams have to cut payroll so that they don't go over the luxury tax, because there still is a luxury tax in baseball. Just like I said, there's no salary cap. But with that being said, I'm going to approach the Dodgers Kyle Tucker situation. So I'm going to be a little bit biased. I like the move. Is it bad for baseball? Maybe, if you're casual. But at the end of the day, the Dodgers are trying to three-peat. They beat the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series in November. In a series, I believe the Blue Jays were the better team throughout the World Series. The Dodgers were the better team on paper, but the Blue Jays played the best. They outscored the Dodgers. Even though the Dodgers won the World Series, they outscored the Dodgers. It makes you think, why are they trying to spend so much money on this team? Well, one, they're trying to three-peat. Two, they're in the biggest market, probably the second biggest market behind New York in sports. And you're probably going to win 90 to 100 games with the Dodgers. I kind of see it as a KD move. I do. I do. But it's obvious that Kyle Tucker's trying to win a championship. And he feels like, or he felt like, he could not accomplish that with the Chicago Cubs, who, you know, were a great team to begin the season. But as the season kind of went, I believe from August all the way to the end of September, you know, they kind of fell off a little bit. And I believe, did they get to the ADLS? I think they did. They did, but they lost to Milwaukee. Because I know I was rooting for the Cubs to win, for the Dodgers could have home field advantage because they were, I believe, the 2 seed, and the Milwaukee Brewers were the number 1 seed. Really the only reason I wanted the Cubs to win. But Kyle Tucker also did not start off with the Chicago Cubs. He was actually with the, I believe, the Houston Astros. He was with the cheating Astros for, you know, a few seasons. He was a really good outfielder, and the way I kind of recognized him is kind of a weird thing. He didn't bat with gloves on, and I just thought that was weird. I was, man, like, dude, this dude's a psychopath. He doesn't even bat with gloves on. But no, he didn't bat with gloves on, but he was a really good outfielder for the Astros. I'm sure he won a Silver Slugger. I'm sure, you know. Now, I don't know too much about him, but I know he played for the Astros, and, you know, he's a really good player. But I haven't just sat down and watched him, you know, outside of that, you know. But he's a good player. And my solution to this problem is simple. And it probably won't be simple to you, you know, if you're not a baseball watcher. But if you don't want these things to happen, where you don't want all these players to go to the Mets, you don't want them to go to the Yankees and the Dodgers, just pay your players what they're worth. But the ownerships of these smaller market teams are too cheap to realize that you got to pay your players, man. You just have to. I've been saying that. And you fans are upset that the Dodgers are getting all these good players, but be mad at your organization for not paying the players. Pay them everything that they're worth. Because what's going to end up happening is someone like a Paul Skeens, the pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, LSU legend, he's going to probably go somewhere. He's probably going to go to a bigger market team that's going to pay him a lot of money, you know, and he's going to contend for a World Series. When you're with the Pirates, I can't even remember the last time they made the playoffs, like 2019, 2020. You know, that was 6-7 years ago. Sorry, guys. But it was a long time ago, you know. And they just can't compete with, you know, teams that, you know, are in bigger cities. And honestly, with this move, I mean, the Dodgers, they get better, but they also got one of the best reliever pitchers in the league, and Edwin Diaz from the New York Mets. They have Tyler Glass now. They have Blake Snell. I mean, it's a super team, dude. If they don't three-peat, this is a failure. They have to three-peat. And then again, if they do three-peat, there's probably going to be a lockout. There's probably going to be a collective bargaining agreement that has to pass, and there might be a salary cap implemented. I would not be surprised by that. So as much as I want the Dodgers to three-peat, and as much as I think they're going to three-peat, you know, it's going to be kind of bad for baseball. It might not be good for them either, but you know, that's just kind of my take on the situation. You know, I watch baseball. You know, I'm a baseball fan. You know, but football's my first love. But I have knowledge in baseball for sure. This is a sport that I love. It's a sport that I played, you know, for a while. And yeah, I think that's just gonna go ahead and wrap it up. If you gain anything from this, please like the video. Please subscribe as well. Put anything you have. Put your opinions in the comments below. You know, I might respond to them. I might tell you how I feel about it. If I agree with you, I agree with you. If I disagree, oh well. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching this video, and you know, there will be an upload soon.